From hotbed Houston, Texas, home of Super Bowl 51 and the site of our sports scarring moment today, the 28-3 game. Now this game really needs no introduction, but for all two of you that aren't familiar, the year is 2017, and the Atlanta Falcons are on fire, going against the dynasty of the 2010s, the New England Patriots. Additionally, they were whooping the Patriots like they stole something. But somewhere in the third quarter, that belt changed hands. One play at a time, one drive at a time, you look up and the Patriots have completed a 25-point comeback and the game is headed into overtime. And then, I'll let Falcons fan, the fan story, and Mack Bryant tell y'all the rest of the story. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow on all the socials at Pearce TV, but most importantly, enjoy this week's episode of...
Could you play any worse right now?
A Falcon fan almost expects disaster.
That's incredible. Did he make the catch? He did.
You got it. Because it was over. 28-3, the game is over.
Tucks it under the right arm. Cuts it upfield. Driving forward. Diving to the goal line.
My father was in the Air Force. So we bounced around a lot when I was young. So we had this practice of adopting the team in the city that we were in. So I moved to Atlanta in 2001, which also happened to be right when Vic came, right a year later, I think, Arthur Blank bought the team. And then right after that, he slashed all the prices of tickets because he wanted the Georgia Dome full, right? So I got season tickets in the upper ring of the old Georgia Dome for $10 a seat. So I got in right when Vicomania, right, started. It's just because I happened to be there at the time. And my son, who's now 21, was born in 2004. So we were taking him to the games as well. His first, and I love to tell this story, his first football jersey was a Mike Vick onesie that I bought at the NFL, I bought the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That was his first jersey.
Coming in during the Vic era had to be fun. Well, until that thing happened. But what did it really mean to be a Falcons fan, especially in that 2016 to 2017 season?
A Falcon fan almost expects disaster. We can't have nice things because the team is never good in a prolonged way.
Epic foreshadowing.
It's almost like Charlie Brown trying to kick the football, Lucy pulling, right? That's who a Falcon fan is. The Falcons didn't have two consecutive winning seasons for the first almost 40 years of their existence. It was, so they were founded in 1966, and I believe Matt Bryant was that quarterback that had two consecutive winning seasons. So that's how bad the team has been just historically. And then they go on this run. So it's probably not even maybe into the playoffs before you feel like, oh my, this might be good, because they were falconing the whole time prior to that. I'm not sure if I fully believed until they blew the hell out of Green Bay in the NFC Championship game. Rodgers had beaten them several times in the playoffs, so the Packers were kind of a nemesis. The Falcons got up on the Packers and they were destroying them. And then oh my goodness, this is going to happen. This looks good. You watch that offense, how often guys were schemed wide open. How many times dudes were just streaking down the middle because Shanahan had them fooled, right? The running game was amazing. There was Freeman and Tevin Coleman, who were like the two-headed monster killing folks. And then, of course, you had Julio, and it was just, play action pass killed other teams, right? And I think about that now, I'm like, man, the Falcons can't do that at all now. And you had one of the best receivers in the league not being covered because the scheme was so good. I love Julio. Love Julio. Julio is either the first or second best Falcon of all time. If you're talking about history, he was a better wide receiver than Mack Bryant was a quarterback. So for me, that makes him number one and Matt Ryan number two. But he was, not only was he more physically gifted than everybody else, but the Falcons still, for all this time, they never force-fed him the way that other guys get. They never figured out how to use him in the red zone. You look at his numbers, his touchdowns are never as good as they should be. And for a number one receiver, and it's not his fault, it's the team's fault, the scheme's fault. He was the most unselfish, toughest superstar, non-diva superstar maybe that there's ever been. Julio was the best player of the team for a long time, and you never heard boo from him. But he was just brilliant. It was just joy to watch him, and just the athleticism, the toughness. I mean, he'd get hurt and play through it. I mean, he was just something else. And Ryan the same way in another way. I mean, he's exactly who you want your quarterback to be. He's a grown-up. He never says the wrong thing. He's a team guy. He's a good player, a borderline great player, but you're always going to be proud of him to be on the team, right? And he generally didn't make mistakes to hurt the team either, right? He was just an easy guy to root for.
After that thumping of the Packers, the Falcons were in the Super Bowl against the NFL Death Star, the New England Patriots. What was it like during those first three quarters where it seemed like everything was going right?
Beating the brakes out of Tom Brady, and my kids and I laugh about it. The coldest take in the history of cold takes. I actually posted on social media, end of a dynasty, start of a dynasty, in the middle of that game. Because it was over. 28-3, the game is over. And then we get into the car, and it's 28-9, right? So the Patriots score a touchdown. They go for two, I guess, don't get it. And then they kept scoring and scoring and scoring. And by the time we got home, it's a tie game going into overtime, and it's over. There was just the team had played 100 plays of defense. There was no world in which I thought the Falcons would win the game, but by the time they got tied. I was cool at 28-9. Once they got the second score, then I started to panic, because now it's Tom Brady. And Tom Brady does this thing. And then the Falcons. So the hallmark of the whole season on offense was being aggressive. That's what Shanahan was. He was aggressive. But he didn't seem to know how to take the air out of the ball and throttle it back. So the Falcons are still aggressive with this 25-point lead. And the play, one of the plays that turned the game was you were probably the guy better than I did. The guy stripped the
Dante Hightower, my hero.
Right. Why are you running plays like that? Why are you putting yourself at risk? Because there came a point where the Falcons needed to score 3 more points in that game, and the game's over. And I believe it was the same drive where Julio made what would have been the catch of the game had they won the game. That got them into easy field goal range. And then, but somehow they didn't score there. And then you got Edelman. Then you got all the. And by the time Edelman makes his catch, that's when you start to think, okay, it's destiny now. If that ball doesn't hit the ground, it's destiny now.
And now for everyone's favorite game, who gets the blame? Survey says.
It's interesting the way Falcon fans remember the game, because typically the head coach would take heat for stuff like that. But Mike Shanahan is the person Kyle Shanahan is the person that people absolutely can't stand here in Atlanta, to the point where Falcons fans will root against the Niners because there's no way that he deserves a ring before the Falcons get a ring. I mean, there's no words for it. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And I'm sure his thought is, oh yeah, we score the touchdown, we win the game. You run the clock out, you win the game too. I mean, it's risk reward. And again, so you got the conspiracy theorists thinking, well, he already had a job. He went to coach the Niners the next year. It was very likely that agreement was in place already. So he's now, okay, I got my gig. Now I'm trying to look good. Now I'm trying to show how big of a guru I am. right? Instead of handling the business in hand, right? Because he had it. This was going to be Quinn's title, not his. He needed to get on to his next thing. So he is among Falcons fans. Next to maybe someone like Bobby Petrino. Boy, we don't like Kyle at all. The fact that his ego was such, and that's the way Falcons fans remember it. His ego was such that it felt like he would rather look good doing it than do what was right.
Okay, I've shown enough restraint. Let's talk about the greatest catch in Patriots history. Come on down, Julian Edelman. Your time to shine.
That's one of the reasons why it makes it so amazing, because by the naked eye, there's no way he caught that. So you had to look at it from a million different angles, and then finally you get there like, man, he actually did catch that. That ball didn't hit the ground. He caught that. But again, you see that and you're like, oh boy, you're talking about football gods and sports gods now. It's like, that just happened. That doesn't bode well for your team who's already starting to let go of the rope. I'm not sure if that catch, if there's any way you can put that catch outside the top 5 in NFL history. It's the difficulty in the moment. That was an extremely high leverage moment where Edelman made that catch. I'm not sure if we could put 5 catches ahead of that.
But the game wasn't over just yet. They were headed into overtime where anything can happen, right? The Falcons still had a shot, right?
Zero. Not even 1%. 0. Because that's who Brady was by that time. He was forgetting about those circumstances. In normal circumstances, if Brady has the ball in that era, if Brady has the ball and it's, if it's less than a score and he has the ball, you feel like, at least around the league, we felt like, okay, our team's going to lose. That's who he was. Tiger Woods at that point, right? He was red shirt Tiger Woods at that point. Now you've got the psychological trauma of giving up 28-3. You've got the fact that the defense is absolutely gassed, and now you got to go right back on the field after you've coughed up this lead to try to 0%, not even 1%.
So the game ends. Outside of a deadpan stare into the abyss, how do you even respond as a fan when something like this happens to you?
TV off. I didn't watch any sports, and I do this when it's especially if it's a loss like that. I can't watch football. I can't watch football talk. At least the next week, like the parade's got to end, and then like another week has to pass. I've never watched that game back. I've seen obviously social media. I've seen the Edelman catch hundreds of times. I've seen Julio's catch a lot. I saw the pick 6 to put him up. The Falcons touchdowns early on, right? I've seen those, but I've not watched any of it back. Now, what is that? 6, 7, 8 years later, not watched any of it.
What differentiates this sports scarring moment from others is that it's the only one that's a punchline. I don't have to sit through 1,000 helmet catch jokes every year. There isn't a day where we celebrate the Philly special outside of, Philly. So what is it like to go through the relentless jokes as the fan base that's at the butt end of them?
I feel bad for Mack Bryant that he's considered a joker. His personal culpability in that game, there was that fumble, but if you look at his stats, his stat line was amazing. That fumble was really all he did to contribute to the loss. So, but I think as far as the players go, he's the one that probably gets blamed the most for that loss. And inside the Falcon, as a fan, there are lots of people that all of them on the defensive side that I would blame before I would blame Matt Ryan for that. So I feel bad for him. It's annoying that the Falcons are the international symbol of choking a game. Like the meme that has, okay, the team just blew what team in whatever sport just blew a 20-point lead, just blew a 5-run lead, just blew whatever big lead. It's their logo morphing into the Falcons logo. Have you seen these memes? So it doesn't matter the sport. It's like the San Diego Padres could blow a big lead, and it'd be the San Diego Padres logo morphing into the Falcons logo. Every March 28th, there's the post. Think about that. What other game in NFL history can be identified by a partial score of a game? Think about that. It's the 28-3 game.
None. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like it's 28-3, and everybody who's a football fan knows exactly what that means. 28-3.
If you're a Falcons fan and somehow made it this far into the video, leave a comment so I can thank you personally, and I'm very serious about that. Thank you to Mack for coming on. Thank you to everybody else for watching, but I had to ask Mack one last question. If Kyle Shanahan were sitting across that camera instead of me, what would he say? Post-credit scene, go.
I'd want to know what he was thinking. Like, why not, for the sake of the team, just turtle at that point, right? Why not, take the high percentage move, right? What was it that caused you to take that sort of risk to try to throw the dagger, so to speak, versus, look, and that's the thing that you got to respect the Patriots for. They never lost games. They only won them, right? They took them. They didn't cough games up. Very rarely did you ever see a Patriot team, oh, wow, they really should have won that and they lost it. You have to respect that you knew the Patriots had every scenario worked. They planned for every eventuality. So the teams that win, they understand that style points don't matter. The win, it's only the win that matters. I mean, the Patriots played and won one of the worst Super Bowl games to have ever been played, at least from a fan standpoint. That game against the Rams 2 years later, that was a terrible viewing experience, but it's another ring. And that's where I'm not sure if Shanahan's learned it yet, because he's now been in two other situations like this as the head coach of the Patriots, and having a decent size, or head coach of the Niners, and had a decent sized lead and coughed it up. Like, all right.